Okay, trendsetters, welcome back to Chat with a Hat podcast. I'm your host, Dave, and this is my other host, Rowan.
How's it going, guys? Good to be back again. It's only been a couple of weeks this time between racing, so coming up to Enduro season. Looking forward to it. Let's bring it on.
Enduros are back, baby. The Sandown 500 is back. So we've had a little hiatus because we have a 12-round calendar, which we all love. I think we should actually have less racing this year, Rowan. What about 10 rounds? That way we've got heaps of time to have holidays and do things between races.
I think eight's fine. Just
8?
cut it down to just over the winter months, the 3 winter months maybe. Just cut it or split it up. Have one every 2 months, I reckon. So
Yeah, I'm
why
good with
not?
that. And make them
Yeah,
all up
let's
in
let's
north,
do it.
up in Darwin and Queensland and North Queensland, so we can just go away for the good weather.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
let's do it.
nothing says supercars like waiting for a month just to go car racing again. So we all forget about it, but that's okay. We're back. We have the Sandown 500. So enduros are back, not just Sandown. So last weekend, we'll get to the supercar stuff in a minute. Last weekend, filling in the void, Rowan, I believe you went down to Sandown for another kind of car race.
I did. So I went down. Unfortunately, I was planning on going Saturday and Sunday, but then Shannon, my partner, decided to plan a family thing on the Sunday, so I only got the thanks for that. I only got the Saturday down there, but that was awesome. Got to go down and hang out with mate Phil, and took a young lad down there, 12 years old, who'd never been to a car racing event before. I only got interested in cars about 6 months ago, so that was pretty awesome. We'll have a little bit more of a chat about that soon, but no, that was good. Go down, hang out, check out the TCRs, the Trans Ams. So be honest, I think the highlights, it's TCRs are the main event, but the highlights are Trans Ams for me. Those things are sick. So I just
It's good racing, hey. It's door to
I love
door.
it.
Well,
I love
half a
it.
door because I only got little baby doors, but it's door to door
Yeah,
and panel to panel.
I love it. Yeah, well, speaking of that, I was we're talking to one of the drivers there, and we got to have a little bit of a play around in his car. We'll go into that soon too. Thanks, Josh Webster Motorsport and Josh Webster
I'm
Scatelli
very
Motorsport, I think
keen
it
for
is.
this
Yeah.
update. I'm very keen to hear all about that because
Yeah, so we'll go into that. But the quote of the weekend was when I had to sit in the car. I said the view's nothing. You turn to the left and kind of look out the window, and you can't see anything. I said, how do you know when a car's coming up next to you? He said, when you hit him. And I went,
yeah,
yep, that's fair enough.
yeah, no, that's it. And it's been that way all season with the Trans Ams. It's
Yeah,
it's proper door to door bash and barge racing, and
oh,
that's
it's
what we all
fantastic.
love about big thumping loud V8s with big tires, walking around on the tire wall, sliding on the circuit, and just dropping the hammer and forcing their way through.
Oh,
It's
it's awesome.
it's fun. Alrighty, so before we get into all the cool stuff, I just want to make mention of a sad event that happened up at Queensland Raceway on the weekend, up at Ipswich. They had the Power Cruise event up there on the weekend, which is basically kind of drifting and driving and bring your cars and have a big community fun. But there was a crash. There was a serious crash up there involving one of the guys, and he and his passenger suffered some severe injuries. And unfortunately, the driver has passed away. And we are a racing community, whether you're a fan or a volunteer or or a driver, we're all in it together. It doesn't matter what type of circuit racing we have. So from us to his family and his friends, our thoughts are going out with them at this time. We all want everyone to come home safe and get back to their families because we're all in it for the thrill and we are in it for the danger. There is no doubt about it. It is a dangerous sport. And sometimes things get beyond our control and people get hurt. And occasionally, infrequently, people die. But from us to Shane Savage's family and friends, we offer our condolences and our thoughts are with them at this time. So
Yeah, yeah, condolences. Never a good thing. It's lucky it doesn't happen very often. But yeah, condolences to Shane's family and friends and the motor racing community as a whole.
Yeah, yep, that's right. So let's leave that as it is, and we shall move on. Um, let's move into the news of the week, Rowan. For the last couple of weeks since we've had a round, I think the last one was in 1982. So there's been a little bit going
So,
on.
somewhere around there. I'm pretty sure I was in diapers the last time we had one. So we'll.
You're in diapers last week. What are you talking about?
That's
uh,
that's just special occasions, Leave me alone.
I don't need to know. That was your special family event. That's why you couldn't make it on Sandown on Sunday. But anyway, so furthering to my little conversations that I propped out, some of my little predictions that I popped out there from things I heard in Townsville round way back in Townsville. Cam Waters has now committed to Tickford for next year on the proviso that he has access to go and play in the States doing the street circuit NASCARs like Shane and Brody have done this year currently. So, yes, he wants to go to NASCAR. Yes, he has said, I want to go to NASCAR and I'm doing everything I can to go to NASCAR. But for next year, he is committing only for 1 year with Tickford while they reduce down to a two-car team. He's staying where he's getting paid, and Monster are going to back him again. So maybe all of his merch might come back onto the online shop shortly because
They take it down, did they?
it's been up, it's been down, it's been up, it's been down. Because it all depended on whether he was going to be there or not next year. I mean, I saw
Yeah.
did you see on Facey, the guys that do those little replica helmets or little
Yeah.
memorabilia ones? All the Cam Waters Monster ones were being pumped hard for 50% off because they didn't want to get
Yeah.
stuck with them in case he buggered off next year. All these little supercars, Monster
That's great.
helmets. They're on sale for 50% off. So he's
That's
signing on for
great.
a 1 year extension. He does have an option built into that deal in case NASCAR don't pick him up next year. So he can stay for 2025. But he's planning on doing the street circuits and stuff over there. Plus he wants to keep investing in his speedway, his dirt racing as well.
Yeah.
So
He did say he's interested in doing a couple of ovals in the States as well if he can. So
well, he
that'll
will at some point. No one
yeah.
knows the calendar yet. Like you said, you can't lock anything in because
Yeah.
at the moment he's following the same model that's being blazed by Shane and Brody from
Yeah.
Australia, which is street circuits, and then you have to learn oval to get your license
Yeah.
to race on the super speedways over there. So anyway, that's just an update on current state of affairs for Waters. So he's getting paid to stay, and that leaves Randall and Declan as fighting out now for the second seat because Courtney's gone. He's
He's
out.
done. Yeah.
He'll end up at either MSR or Blanchard.
I thought he'd been confirmed for Blanchard already, hadn't he?
No, well, not that I've seen.
Not yet. Oh,
Well,
okay.
not that I've seen. They're both wanting him. They're both wanting him hard
Yeah.
because when Aaron Love comes up to Blanchard's next year for their second car, he will be the mentor with 25 years worth of experience. He's either
Yeah.
going to be mentoring Cam Hill or he's mentoring Aaron Love.
Yeah.
He's still fast enough. Like he's not
No, he's still got it. Yeah,
he's
100%.
not knocking on the podium, but he's not down the back. He hasn't lost it. He's just
Well, he's still knocking on podiums. He's got a couple this year. So
what?
Courtney,
Oh, he did too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Geez, it
Couple?
has
One.
been a long time since the racing was on, wasn't
Ah,
it?
mate. Hey, where are we up to? Is it race 23 or something? We're up to race 23, isn't it? Sandown?
Something like that.
Out of 28? Yeah.
It's
Round 9.
round 9 and race 23 or something. I think so.
Mm.
Because the rest of them for the rest of the year, are all I think. Is there any more sprint rounds left? I don't think there is.
Well, what have we got left? We've got Sandown, Bathurst, Gold Coast, and Adelaide.
In Adelaide, yeah. So it's all 250, 500, and 1,000. So
Yeah, right. So what do you reckon? Actually,
Yeah.
by the way, we should probably do this in the winner and binner. I'll add it later about sprint rounds. Um,
Bin it.
so
Get
so
rid of him.
yeah, okay. Well, all right, that's done. Bin it. There's a precursor to the end. The winner of the
Sneak
bin
peek.
it,
Yeah.
sprint round, bin it, done. Don't have to talk about them. Rightio. So let's just boogie on to Sandown last weekend and give us your rundown. Down at Sandown for the Shannon's round.
Yeah, so look, it was awesome. Got down there, was a little bit worried given the Friday and Thursday and Friday weather we'd had, that it was going to be a repeat of last year with the torrential downpour that we had in 2022. But
It was horrible last year.
horrendous. But no, we get there. Weather's perfect, like late teens, early 20s weather. The sun was shining, a little bit of cloud cover, so you didn't get too hot. And the racing was awesome. And yeah, as I said, we took one of my mates, Phil. He's got a mate who's got a young kid. He's 12 years old, young Connor, his name is. He's just recently got interested in cars and car racing about 6 months ago. And his dad was saying to my mate Phil, he said, "You don't know anyone that's interested in car racing, do you? And would be able to take Connor to an event." And Phil went, "You've got to be bloody kidding me, don't you?" He's I've got a mate that's obsessed with it, and we're actually going to Sandown next weekend. And went, "Do you mind if we take him along?" And I went, "No worries, happy to indoctrinate the next generation into motorsports. That's what we're here for, isn't it? We want to see the young kids up and coming." So we took young Connor down there and watched the first race. And the first thing he said when he got there was, "I can't believe how loud these things are. That's they're so loud. It's awesome." And then after we watched the first race, went down into the pits, and we were just walking through the back of the pit garage there, checking out all the cars and stuff. He loves the GTs and the McLarens and all that, but took him down to go through the Trans Am garage. And as we're walking past young Josh Webster's garage, his mum comes out and goes to kind of hand Connor a poster. And Phil goes, "Oh, it's his first ever time at a racetrack. He's just got into motorsport." And they grabbed him and dragged him straight in the garage. Said, "You want to come in? Want to come in?" He's like, "Yeah." So took him straight into the garage, and popped him in the car, asked him if he wants to hop in the car. So next thing you know, he's sitting in this car and having a bit of a play around. They turned the car on for him and got him to actually have a press on the brake pedal and feel the kind of how much pressure actually goes into putting your foot on the brake in the car. So
And
he
for
got
a
to have a little bit of a
12-year-old,
play
there's
around.
absolutely zero reference point at this point in time.
Oh
He's
yeah,
got
so
no idea.
he's got nothing. So well, the only reference point is because they've actually got a number. So when you put your foot on the brake pedal in the Trans Am cars, a number pops up on the steering wheel, and you've got to get to 800 bars of pressure on the actual steering wheel before it'll actually have any effect and slow the car down.
Yeah.
So he's doing it and he's pushing it down. And obviously, he's a young kid. He's only 12, so he's not getting near there, but he's getting up to around 500 or 600, pushing as hard as he can, like using both feet, and just not getting anywhere near. So got a bit of an understanding at that point of what these races have got to do to get there. And then and they were just showed him around the car. So yeah, I want to give an absolute massive thanks to Josh Webster Motorsport and the his family.
Well, it's Dream
down there.
Racing. It's Dream Racing.
Yeah, Dream Racing. Yeah, so
it's
Scaletti,
Craig
isn't it? So,
Scatella.
Scatella, that's the one. Craig Scatella. Yeah. So, and those guys their hospitality was just awesome. Like a massive thumbs up and a thank you to all those guys. So, and Josh was happy to have a bit of a chat with us and things and let us know and stuff. They were even dumb enough to let me in the car. So I jumped in after young Connor had got out and had a little bit of a crack as well. So
how'd your little chicken legs go?
No, I got it right up there. I got pushed it down, got up. I think the first time I pushed it down because I couldn't be outdone. So I've hit it as hard as I possibly could. And I think I got it to about 950 bars on my first press. And after that, though, I was knackered and I couldn't get it past about 800, 850 after that. So
you managed to pull it up after turn 1 and then turn 3, you put it in the wall.
It was in the wall after that. Yeah, I was done. So. And then I was exhausted. I'm like, the credit any person that says that car racing drivers aren't athletes is a dead set moron. The amount of physical energy that they have to expel just to hit the brakes, let alone all the G forces and all that crap they've got to go through, is ridiculous. They are probably some of the fittest athletes going around, I reckon. So, but no, that
Not
was
to mention the cabin temperature because there's no insulation
well,
and the heat from the
that's it.
gearbox and engine through the firewall is 60 degrees in the cabin.
Exactly, that's
It's
it.
a
So no,
100 kilo
those
brake
guys are
force. Like I had a go
100
at the
kilos of brake force. Yeah,
I had a go at the simulator a couple of times at the Erebus workshop.
yeah,
It was part of the thing. So Adrian and I from the boys, hey Age,
yeah,
um, we went down and spent a day. We had a day there because we had so many
yeah,
hours up. Uh, the first time I put my foot on that brake, as we were, I think Bathurst was loaded up at Griffin's. Yeah, I just like pushing against a brick wall, straight into the wall. That was it, car being hit reset. It's a very, very cheap exercise to repair my car. And then when we were doing our day on the sim, we went, can we just do Phillip Island, thanks, to start with?
yeah,
And they're going, you don't want to do Bathurst? This is too many walls, man. Phillip Island's
yeah.
got heaps of runoff. We got so much space either side of the circuit before we
Not going to
learned how to
write the
drive
car off.
these cars. And then we did
Yeah,
Sandown. And I think my best time on that was about 1:15.
yeah.
And
That's not too shabby.
I know. Like that's what who did our engineering that day? Because it wasn't Will or Brody. I think Will popped in and said hello, and he showed us some stuff, and then he shot out of the room, and then we had a crack. I ended up at 1:15 was my best time for Sandown, but it was only one lap. It wasn't repeatable. I'll give you the tip.
Yeah,
But like
no,
you're right, that brake pressure because there's no master cylinder. You know,
oh, no.
your car you need about 3 or 4 kilos on
Oh, you
a
dab it
brake
and
pressure.
yeah, dab it and it stops. But these things, not a chance. So
100
that
kilos.
was that was an eye opener for me. Like I've had it, jumped in a few cars and stuff every now and then, but I've never actually had a
Yeah, they
chance
weren't
to
yours though, were they? They were just like
try something out like that. Yeah, exactly. So that was just crazy though, and just it's being in those cars as well, and the limited view that they've got in there, like they're
yeah.
pretty much the same setup as a supercar. So the view that they've got, like you can see, you've got 2 feet out your window, out the front window, and then because you've got the massive seat and then the Hans device and everything like
Yeah,
attached to
no
yourself, like
peripheral vision. It's
you
mirrors.
cannot turn your head, you can't see, and yeah, the
Yeah.
mirror is you've got about a foot of space that you can see out the mirror. So that's when I said to Josh, like, when do you know there's someone next to you? And he said, when you hit him, and I believe him. Like, he's not lying when he says that. That's the first time you're going to know there's a car next to you is when you're rubbing wheels with them. So that was mental, but that was a awesome day down there. We walked around the pits for a good couple of hours, checking out all the they had the GT production cars down there, and the not the GT production cars, the production car series and the GT4 series down there.
GT4s were
So,
there, yeah.
yeah, so got to go down and check all them out. And young Connor's a massive McLaren fan. They actually had a McLaren in the GT4s down there, so he got to go down and get right up close and personal with them, which was really nice. You know what it's like with the grassroots state racing. You get to get right up and you can walk around the cars and you can walk in and fully check them out. So that was awesome. Got to suss them out, and that was awesome. Took him down and showed him. They had the little GT, the open wheelers. I think it's the Formula 3 cars down there. He was pretty stoked and impressed with them, seeing the open wheelers up close, and the Mark cars, they were down there this weekend. They're impressive bits of kit.
I saw that you were
So
posting how impressed you were with the Mark cars on the
they
weekend.
they are super impressive bits of kit, those things, because they are purpose built race cars. So
Mm-hmm.
and cheaper than I thought they were as well. Actually, you're looking at about 300 to 400 grand for one of
It's
them, which
three.
isn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's 300 and
yeah,
350.
yeah. So
That was a
and
KTM there. That orange, that whole
no the
full
K no
carbon
the K
fiber.
no the KTM wasn't there this weekend. So they had 2 or 3 Mustangs. They had 2 Mazda 3s. They had the old Ford Lasers, and they had a Mercedes. I think it was a C series Mercedes kit over one of them as well, which looked real nice in a like kind of blue, so chrome blue. That looked awesome. But man, those cars, not only are they properly quick, but those they sound awesome, and they are just like, they're awesome pieces of machinery. And for the price, like if you want to go racing and you've got some money aside, like I'd get myself one of them in a heartbeat. They
Well, the
are
Trans
sick.
Am's are 350, ready to go
Yeah, yeah,
on track. Supercar, you
yeah,
buy the car at 750,
yeah. Exactly. It's
and
ridiculous.
then it's
So
spares, and then it's everything
yeah,
else. It's $3 million a year to run a supercar.
yeah. It's just ridiculous. So. But no, those are the mark cars were probably the ones that, because I haven't been up close to one of them before. I've never seen one that close before. I've seen them on track and everything and on TV, but just actually getting to get up close to them and have a good look at them. Unfortunately, there was one of them when we got there on Saturday that they were. What's the best way to put this? They were picking up the pieces of what was left of the front end of the car after hitting a wall in qualifying. So there wasn't much left of the front of it. And I had a bit of a chat with him. I said, "Are you going to get it fixed?" And he said, "Yeah, we'll get it fixed, but not this weekend. It's going back on the trailer and going back to the garage." So
Yeah, right.
that was
Yeah, well, Sandown can eat cars. Not turn 6 anymore, but
no, not
Sandown
turn
can.
6. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually ask him which wall he went into, but I'm assuming it was one doing a fair bit of speed, because there was a ton of damage on the front of that thing. So
If you're coming in hot after 6, that Dandenong Road complex,
yeah,
6,
going into
7, 8,
9. Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's a couple that might end up going straight, not make 9,
Yeah, so I reckon that's what he's done, is he's come loose around there and
or
just
it's turn
bounced straight
1.
into a wall.
And
So
yeah, like turn 1, you usually run wide because they're giving you about 15 meters of apron on the
yeah,
outside of
yeah,
the ripple strip to try to save it from the grass before you
yeah,
slam into 2 and people are coming around into that 3-4. When you're at 3, you're looking at the fence,
yeah, yeah.
and then you hit that curb, which isn't really a curb, it's a gutter.
It's a gutter. Yeah, yeah.
It's a legitimate, like about a foot high
Oh
the
yeah,
inside ripple strips, like literally a gutter that they just launch over and then
gives you a good
land,
bounce. Yeah.
turn it, peak it, bin it, like just send it down to the back straight out of 4.
Oh yeah, that's it. But no, that was I'd say the mark cars were definitely the peak for me. So, but the racing was good in all the series. So there was the GT production cars. The race actually between the McLaren and the Porsche in race 1 was absolutely awesome. But unfortunately for the McLaren driver coming onto the last lap, they were really really close, but they came up to a lapped car, and one of the uh I don't know what happened, but one of the Commodores got in the way and actually took out the McLaren and caused enough damage that they weren't racing for the rest of the weekend. So
Sorry, I'm confused.
it
I didn't see it all because I was up. We'll get to where I was. I was up in Queensland for a different race
yeah.
meeting. But um, what category was this?
So this was the production cars and the
Oh, production
GT4s.
cars.
Yeah,
Okay, so there was
yeah.
a McLaren racing in the production class.
And no, McLaren was racing in the GT4s, so he was one of the GT4 cars.
Oh, yes,
And
in the
yeah,
because they combine them at the moment. Because
yeah, they've combined them. Yeah,
yeah, right. Sorry, yeah, I
yeah,
wasn't sure.
because
Yeah,
at the moment I think there's only 5 or 6 production cars.
correct.
I think
Next
there
year
was only I think there was only
they're
4
having
there
a
this
full grid
weekend.
next year. Everyone's in.
Yeah,
GT4s will have their own, but this year they've been chucking 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 as they keep going along for the entire season. They blend them in
yeah,
with
yeah. Because there was
improved
only
prod.
5 there this weekend. So there was a Porsche, there was the McLaren, there was Renee Gracie in the Ginetta. They
Yeah,
had
which
a
failed.
Mercedes. Yeah, unfortunately, she had a clutch issue or something on Saturday, which put her out for the weekend. So yeah, they had
They're
a
talking 17 cars
GT.
next year on the GT4.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, they're great little cars. They're awesome, and they're good racing. So when they're with that many cars on track, I reckon it's going to be a great little series next year.
Well, for a
So I'm looking
startup
forward to that.
series next year, they'll have their own
Yeah,
category, their own slot without blending
yeah.
in with the improved prod. So
100%. Well, and because it is an issue with the production cars, because a lot of them are a lot slower, and that's what caused this issue at the
yeah,
end of
yeah,
race
yeah,
1 when
yeah, yeah. True. Yeah, that did.
he's
Yeah, exactly.
he's trying to pass a Commodore, which they were in their own race, the Commodore, and then as he's
Yeah.
tried to go around the outside, the Commodore hasn't seen him, and they've just bumped wheels, but it's done enough damage that it's actually bent the suspension and everything up in the McLaren, and
Mm.
their weekend was over at the end of race 1.
Well, they're
So
not
that
getting a
was
control arm out of super cheap. So
No, God knows, not out of
Not
them.
zooming
So
up Dandenong Road. They're super cheap to get some
not
McLaren parts.
not for one of them, unfortunately. But no, that was good racing. But the Trans Ams are the way it is. So like the T8, the touring cars, they were great. Willie Brown's plow through from 10th to 3rd on that first race on Saturday. That's impressive to watch. And to be honest with you, I think Will probably would have won that race if he didn't go a little bit wide with a few laps to go at the turn 9. He probably would have won that race, but he just made a bit of a mistake trying to catch up to the top two cars and lost himself a bit of ground. So that was awesome watching him plow his way through the field. Unfortunately for Bailey, started on pole, went backwards, and then copped himself a black flag for getting a little too overzealous into turn 1 with his blocking. But these things happen, especially with the youngins racing. They it's all learning for them. But then when the Trans Ams get on track, man, those things they're just that's just proper old school racing. Those things are, wheel to wheel, side by side. They're loud. They're awesome. It's like old school supercars racing, like when they're back in the day when they actually were allowed to have a bit of fun. So that was awesome to watch. Moff nailed the weekend, won all 3 races, but that was pretty good for Connor, because bar Josh Webster being his new favourite driver after letting him in the car, he's picked Moffat as his one of his top drivers, being that his old man's Canadian like his old man was. So he was pretty happy to see Moff clean sweep the weekend.
Yeah,
And
Moff's got the same bright personality that Alan does.
oh, he does indeed. So we did actually meet Moff. We decided to pull him up on the as he was heading off to the loo as we were waiting for the track walk, the grid walk on Saturday. And I said, do you mind if we
You're
grab a
pulling an
pic?
AVL, were you? Lurking
Yeah,
around the
yeah.
toilets, waiting for a driver to come past.
Lurking around the loo. No, we just wait to the end of the pits for the grid walk. And Moff, can I grab a pic for a young Connor? And he's after I come back from the loo. And so credit to him, because I didn't think he was going to stop when he come back, but he did actually stop and on his way back. But yeah, he's a little bit frosty, Moff. So I said, young Connors, he was pretty rapt. I said he's from Canada. Was that told him that James Moff, and he said, yeah, but I'm not Canadian. I said, yeah, but your old man. He's like his old man, so and he's like, oh yeah, so but he's not an overly friendly chap, Moff, but he was nice enough to stop for a couple of pics, so
Oh,
which was
good on
nice.
him.
So
Good on him.
yeah,
Because he doesn't give any quarter on the racetrack, and when he
no, he
makes
does not.
contact or has contact made, yeah, he's pretty much great to first one to start lobbing grenades. So
Oh yeah. Well, look, he's no Ben Grice, but that's
oh, hang on, Benny Grice has got his book of feuds. Like, like that's legit. Ben Grice is a fantastic driver. I love everything about him.
he's great.
I also love the fact he reminds me of a Johnny Bow back in the day.
Oh yeah,
Basically, you want to tag me, I'll tag you back.
I'll take you on. Yeah,
I might
that's
not
it.
get you in the same race. I might not even get you in the next race if I don't get near you. But it
I
could
was
be
I
the
was
next round. There's a book
I
of
was
feuds.
100%. I was actually real concerned coming into the second race, because at the end of race 1, Gricey was in the front for a little bit, and then just something must have happened, and he fell back to about 4th or 5th,
He's had a
3rd
bit
or
of bad
4th.
luck at the moment recently in the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
couple of rounds because he's actually usually fighting for the top 3.
He was, yeah, and he was right up there, but he was battling for 4th place right at the end, and coming out of the very last corner on the last lap, he got muscled by someone coming into the last corner, and actually got pushed a little bit wide and cost him 4th place. I think it bumped him back to 5th actually.
Yep.
And I thought I want to know who that guy is that's just bumped him out. I said, because I reckon I'm going to see him
Wasn't
face.
Tommy Heyman, was it?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't Tommy Heyman. No, it was a white car. I think a white and black car. I'm not sure who it was, but I'll have to check the replays. But I was convinced I was going to see them facing the wrong way or in a sand trap if Brycey got close to them in the second
Yeah.
race. So, and surprised he didn't. So either he didn't get close enough to him, or he's tempered himself a little bit. But I
Good
was a
on
little
him.
bit worried.
Yeah, that's cool, man. But let's fill us in on the TCRs, because I know you didn't get there on the Sunday. So even though I was up in sunny Queensland basking in the glorious Australian sun, I was watching it all on Stan myself.
Yeah.
Now
So
the
no, I didn't get
the
there.
TCRs, which are the flagship category, although I do love the Trans Ams. They are most second favorite category because of the style of racing that they are allowed to run. Because you know the categories tell MA and the stewards how to adjudicate, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So little contact, all the contact you see in a Trans Am race, if that was in a supercars race, Beardo is like throwing penalties left, right, and center.
there'd be drive-through penalties,
Yeah, there'd be all
disqualifications.
kinds of
There'd be
crazy.
everything. Yeah,
Yep, there'd be all kinds of hell. All the teams be protesting. Everyone's like losing their shit. Um, Trans Am have said to the stewards, well, here's the rule book, and we allow this level of contact. Pit maneuvers, out. Everything else, side by side, fair game. Knock
yep.
yourselves
Go
out.
for it.
Go nuts.
Go for it. Yeah,
And the stewards adjudicate to the way the category dictate.
yeah.
As long
But
as it's not unsafe, it's all sweet.
credit to TCRs though. They let you get away with a fair bit of biff and barging in
Oh,
TCR as
holy
well. Like
hell.
you can,
Seriously,
yeah,
TCRs this weekend
yeah,
was magnificent.
yeah,
Like I'm 2,000 Ks away watching it on stand because that's the only way to see it. And
yeah.
we'll bring up a little bit more about that later. But uh, the side by side bash, biff, push, nudge,
Oh,
it
they're going
was
for it. Yeah,
it was it
and
was mint.
it was
Bailey's
great
launches
racing.
are
Like,
shit at the moment. Like you can't get off the
uh,
line because that
no,
little launch button isn't working well. So they're working on
yeah.
whether they can get a
Like
fix.
to be honest, the Saturday race bar Willie coming through the field was a little bit blasé. There wasn't a lot going on the Saturday race, but the Sunday races for those two was pretty entertaining. I missed the third one unfortunately because I was busy having lunch at that stage. But the second race was pretty good, and Bailey got a win on that one, and we got a win in both of them actually. But
He
I've
did.
heard this.
He did. Well, he
I
got the
heard
win on the
the
second one
national.
by benefit of copping that blocking penalty on
Oh,
race
that's right.
one,
Yeah, yeah,
which because there's a reverse top 10. So
yeah.
as their team was protesting the penalty, they realized actually if we shut it up,
That's going to put us on pole.
we
Yeah,
end up on front row. We end up in
yeah.
P2.
A second P2.
So
Yeah, yeah,
like we don't really need to keep pushing the point too hard on the first race because it works in our favor that we've been shuffled back down
yeah.
for race two.
And
And then,
race three is the one where all the points are. So that's the big points race. So
yeah, well, race three, you end up on the pole because they now include quali
yeah,
points into race one and two to work out your position
yeah,
on race three. So Bales takes off on pole, a little bit of fun at the start, great first, lap, great, grabs the lead, holds it. That's it. That's never headed,
no.
off he goes. The crazy part, I don't know if you saw the end of race three, 2 laps to go.
I
Josh,
missed all race three, unfortunately.
right. So Zach Suter comes around the outside of turn 9, 2 laps to go, goes a bit wide on his own. Lockie Manif in the out, like Willie Brown's old Audi, sees the open, door
Yeah,
open, flies up on the inside perfectly. Why wouldn't you? That's what you do. You're a race car.
yeah,
You're in a race car. Suter comes back on circuit. They smash wheels. They bash a little bit, and then they actually interlock
ooh,
wheels, front wheels.
how'd he get up?
Suter, his wheel tore off the rim.
Oh, tore off. Oh, geez.
Like he's done. Like that was the damage done from the wheel locking. So
Yeah.
Suter pulls up, misses the pit lane entry, pulls up just at the top end of Main Straight.
Oh, no.
Has to pull over to the side up against the wall there, opposite his garage. But because it was like Dandenong Road, it was coming into the Main Straight.
Yeah,
And Lockie Manif went around one more lap before his wheel just gave up and flat tire because that was from the damage from the previous contact,
yeah,
which opened up. See, Bales and Aaron Cameron are already shot down. They were already down the straight
they're
from the
off. Yeah,
guys
yeah,
behind them. And that left a battle pack of 4 cars. That was Jordan Cox, Jordan Cox, Josh Buchan, Michael Clementi, and Tony D'Alberto.
Yeah,
Not in that order. It was Tony D with Jordan Cox, Clementi, and then Josh Buchan. These four were on each other's bumper bars fighting for third place now because the other two Audis that were in front of them took each other out with 2 laps to go. The last lap
yeah.
was just mental. Absolutely. You couldn't take your eyes off this four battle pack as everyone was just pushing and shoving and barging and half turning blokes and into each other. It was brilliant.
That's awesome. I'll have to check out the replay. I haven't had a chance yet. I'll get onto that after this tonight, I reckon.
Yeah, cool. So overall impressions for Sandown this weekend, not a large crowd. Friday would have deterred some, but Saturday and Sunday looked glorious. So
Yeah, so I was.
cold but dry-ish.
Well, it wasn't even that cold. It got a bit chilly, but it was quite nice. But yeah, crowd was a bit small, but that's something we'll touch on as well. I think that Speed Series are costing themselves a little bit by hiding their series behind the paywall. They're just not getting enough people that actually know that it's on and are interested in watching it because they haven't had a chance to. And there was probably only about 3 to 5 thousand people there on Saturday, which is, it's not tiny, but it's just not. It's not probably actually I would say probably less than 5,000, about 3,000 people at most, I would say. So the grandstands, they had half the grandstand closed off for like VIP, and there was about 15 people down there, and then there was probably only you'd say maybe 1,000 people in the grandstands, and then a few scattered around the rest of the track. So they're costing themselves with that because it's such an awesome series. Like, it's so good when you're there. You get to get right up and close. Like, everything's so good when you actually go there. You really enjoy it. You see everything. You're right up and close. You can talk to the
Well,
drivers. You can
but what
see the
else?
cars.
Okay, I'll ask you this. What else should they do? It's only $50 a ticket for a weekend.
Not
Right?
even. It's like 30 or 40
Oh,
bucks, I
sorry.
think. So
So
yeah,
that's for the instant. We've got the world rounds coming up. We'll get to
yeah,
that a bit
yeah,
later. But like, yeah, this round's $40 for a weekend pass,
yeah,
and it's $20 a day.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, is it
Like,
right? No, it's $30 a weekend pass, $20 a day.
yeah, yeah. And it's just like that money, like the money that you get the. I got to admit, the other series they had there this year, like last year, they had better other categories there. There was only 5 or 6 categories there this weekend, which still not too bad. But the just being able to get so up close to them, and the amount of racing that you do get, you're still getting, I think, 8 or 9 races in the day, and they're all timed as well for the Saturday. I think they're all like 30-minute long races. So you're getting like 8 30-minute races for $30.
Hey, were
It's
the Fanatec GTs there?
No, they weren't there this year. So
Good,
that was
because they
yeah.
soak up so much bloody time with their 1 hour races and their 2 hour
Yeah, that's
races.
true, actually. That's true, because it was nice to have just the half-hour races. So yeah, they do. I like the GTs, but those hour-long races can get a little bit dull sometimes. So it's but no, for the amount of money it's worth. Like, if you haven't been to the racing before and you want to go and you can't really afford supercars, get your ass down to a Speed Series event, because the money that you're paying for it is 100%
It's a
worth it, and
movie
it's
ticket.
just it's cheaper than a movie ticket and a popcorn. It's cheaper than a movie ticket and some popcorn, and you're gonna have 8 hours worth of solid
When
entertainment.
people
And
complain about the cost of
oh
going car racing because there's $150 to go to supercars round,
yeah,
and then you have the option to go to all of your state rounds.
yeah,
This isn't even state racing where it might cost you $10
yeah.
to go to a state round with 10 categories.
No, this is a national series.
This
It's the
is
second. It's effectively the second tier series to supercars. So
I'd say that. Yeah, I'd
yeah,
say that.
yeah,
And it's not because it's a second tier of quality. It's just because it's new and
yeah,
um, it doesn't have the legacy and the
yeah.
history and the notoriety and the involvement yet because it's only turned up a few years ago, mate. It's only like
Yeah, they're
4 years
only
old.
3 or 4 years old now. Yeah, but you've got Audi, you've got a factory team in there. They've got, so many nice cars. Like these cars look sick, not to mention the Trans Ams and everything like that. But these cars just look nice. They're quick. Like they might be 2 liter turbos, but they are properly fast. Like they're not slow little shit boxes that you see on the road. Like these are
Did I tell
properly
you I
quick
went for a
race
hot
cars.
lap with
So
Bailey Sweeney at QR?
yeah, you did. Yeah. So that would have been
Oh,
fun.
mate, it was an eye opener. These things have
Yeah.
some poke.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
which
They are
I
properly
don't
quick.
know whether like now there'll be another podcast coming out, which is not this one, but I've just done interview with Bailey Sweeney and Reef McCarthy in the Formula V's. I'll be putting that out as a second podcast to this before we hit Sandown. So you get this one from Roman and I talking rubbish, and then you can listen to the podcast with Bailey and Reef McCarthy coming up
Oh,
next.
just before I do forget, one other thing, which is the main thing that this is awesome. Like the one thing with the speed series, free grid walks.
Oh yeah, forgot to
Free
mention.
grid
How
walks.
good is that? That
They
is mint.
are awesome, like so good. You're right down there. You're walking around the cars, like you get to go in. Actually, I don't know if I'm going to get in any trouble for this, but I've got a video. I don't know whether I should post it or not. But I actually filmed the Greg Russ interview with Will Brown sitting on sitting on the grid. Not Will Brown, sorry, Bailey Sweeney sitting on pole position for
Yeah,
race
no,
one.
watch that
I,
video.
I was standing there. Oh, did
You're
you,
not
mate?
getting
Oh,
in
so I did
trouble. You're not
post
getting
it.
in trouble with
There you
anyone.
go. Well, I just thought, is that like a stand going to get me in trouble because I'm filming their
Shit, no.
interviews live and putting them on
No.
Facebook? So
Hell no. They want you to do that so other
yeah,
people can know
but
it's a free grid
oh
walk. Like everybody, I've been saying that for 2 years,
yeah,
man. I've been saying
but
that
how
on this.
how good are they? Like you're standing there, like I'm standing there right there. The film crew's there, the TV crew's there. They're interviewing Bailey, and I'm standing right there next to the car, just having it. Filming the Erebus Motorsport Army's logo on the front of the car. That we've got our little
Oh yeah,
sponsorship on the front of
yeah. Thank
Bailey's
you to
car. Yeah, yeah,
everybody.
yeah,
Thank you to everybody in the Erebus Motorsport Army who chipped in some coin because Bailey
yeah.
Sweden runs a bonnet sponsorship. And just a big plug for the young bloke. Running up to the next two rounds, which are the world rounds. So we've got the Sydney night round and Bathurst, November 3 and 4, and then Bathurst. So Sydney, November 3, 4, Bathurst, 11 and 12. He's running the bonnet sponsorship program again, like we all chipped in. So everyone who chipped in just to get the EMA Army on the bonnet, that went around Sandown. But the deal is the next two rounds, you pay once, you get your name on the bonnet twice.
Oh, there you
So
go.
it's just a one-off joint, one-off payment. It's just a one wrap. It covers both world rounds, the same bonnet, both rounds. So
It's
I'll let
only it's
your
only $100 for an individual, $200 for a
business.
business. Is that right? Yep.
Yep,
So
100 bucks for your personal name on the bonnet and $200 for a business. And it'll be run for both rounds this time. Instead of round by round, you get two for the price of one. So that's a good
that's
plug on your Bailey.
$50 at $50 a round. Why not as an individual? Get yourself on
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. All right. Is there anything else we need to know about Sandown?
That's about it. Just the grid walks. Get yourself in there. Do a grid walk because those things are sick. Like just so close up to the cars. They are awesome. And taking young Connor there. If you've got anyone that's got friends that have got kids that are into motorsport and they don't want to go, take them down there, man. Like I'm not a big fan of kids. Like I've got no kids. I have no plan on having kids, but just take them down there. Like we've got to get these young kids into motorsport. And there's no better way that if you've got family, friends, or someone that's got a young'un that wants to come down to the racing, take them out for the day. We had an absolute blast, and it's just so good to see like a smile on a young kid's face, getting to experience that. Like you remember that first time that you went to a car racing event, like that smile and that thrill of seeing these cars up close and everything like that. It's just
You know,
awesome.
my
So
very first car racing event ever, of any
yeah,
category ever, was when I was 15 years old, and it was a nitro burning top fuel drag meet.
no
That was
shit.
my introduction into
That
car racing because my
blows your
my
eardrums off. Yeah,
my my mate is cousin of Jim Walton, who was a 7-time funny car champion
nice.
racing back in before you were born, you millennial. And because I'm
Well,
old.
if you were 15, mate, you're not that. I'm not that young, mate.
Dude, you would have been in nappies and would have been still in nappies. But that was me then. So I was all drag racing first, and then Calder Park with Thunderdome. We used to go there, watch the Oz cars and the when the NASCARs came out, but all Oz cars and supercars came along a little bit later. I had mates who were
Yeah,
running cars. Rod Wilson, back
yeah,
in the Oz car days. But anyway, I digress. So now I'm heavily invested in supercars. I just want the cars to be better and the racing to be better and cheaper.
yeah.
I'm done with that. So let's just wrap up this whole Sandown thing. Let's move on. So basically, Bailey Sweeney has taken back the championship lead from Josh Buchan. He's on 589 points. Josh Buchan's on 559. It's 40-point lead. Bailey had a successful weekend. Aaron Cameron in the Peugeot is hot on their heels at 551. So he's 8 points behind Josh, his teammate in the Elantra, who's still struggling to find some a little bit of straight line speed at the moment. Bailey
And the
overcame
Elantra, it's an I-30, isn't it, Dave?
no, but the I-30 sedan,
Yeah.
not the Elantra.
Elantra.
Not the Elantra. I'm doing the air quotey things for all the people listening. Not the Elantra. It's the I-30 sedan, although it's an Elantra. Tony D, last year's champions on 506. He's still been Mr. Consistent, but he gets a brand new Honda Civic next round coming over from Europe. He gets a new model. Let's see what happens over in the Sydney Motorsport Park. So Tony D gets his new toy. Jordan Cox is 10 points behind Tony D in is he in the Peugeot too? Coxie? The green and white. Is he?
Yes, it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a Peugeot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Peugeot too. Now Tony D and Jordan Cox are having a war right now. They are throwing so much shade at each other. Coxie has been known to make contact in the past,
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
basically bulldozing through. And after the last round up in QR, oh my God, it is awesome. This is like a proper, not a manufactured driver rivalry.
No, these
It
guys don't
is
like each
it
other.
is legit. Jordan came out, started throwing shade at Tony. Tony's come back, went, what the fuck? Oh, sorry, what the? And then
What the flip? Yep.
yeah. And then threw some shade back. And this is going on and on. We are now going to watch the rest of this season because these two end up finding each other on the circuit a lot. And I am in for it. Like, I will cut out all of your segment just to talk about these two. Just the absolute rivalry that is going on and the amount of crap that is being thrown between both these two garages right now, because we've got
awesome.
we've got two more rounds left in this category. One of them's SMP, both night races. The other one's BI, Bathurst International. It is getting on between these two. It is proper. This is bigger than Chaz and Waters when they were in the same team and just kept taking each other out. This is a proper rivalry, and I'm in for it.
That's huge. Yeah. I'm looking forward to these last two rounds with the internationals there. It's going to be great fun. So
Oh yeah, that's going to be a belter. We don't have much time. We're going to move on. We don't have much more time, but the TCR calendar has been announced for next year.
10 rounds. Yes, I'm
Sorry,
excited by that.
it's the Shannon's. The Shannon's calendar has been announced, not the TCR calendar. The Shannon's calendar has been announced, expanding to 10 rounds. TCR will be doing 7 of these. They won't be doing the opening round at Sandown. They won't do the first Queensland round, which is the back-to-back round, and they won't do the first Sydney Motorsport round.
Yeah.
They will be the everybody else but TCR in the Shannon's stable. So Shannon's are still doing 7. TCR are still doing 7 rounds next year out of the expanded 10-round calendar.
But even though the TCRs aren't going to be there, for anyone, get yourself down to Sandown 9th to the 11th of February, because that's going to be a perler. And it's going to be probably a nice warm 45-degree Melbourne afternoon for us in the middle of February. So that should be a ton of fun.
Heaps of UV on the track. It won't be slippery at all.
Not a bit.
Cool.
But that's enough. That's enough for the speed series anyway. Dave, tell us about your weekend, mate.
Okay, I'm doing it in 25 words or less. I went up to Morgan Park in Queensland for the Formula Vee National Round, which is also the Queensland State Round. And it was being a national round, anybody who is competing in the parallel competition can turn up. So Reef McCarthy was the only Victorian entrant who made the trip. There were four from New South Wales that came up to join the national round, and we raced with the Queensland Formula V's. My good friend, long time life friend, who is the president of Formula V, Mark Moran, I was his pit crew, just Mark and I. And unfortunately, Mark didn't perform extraordinarily well. It wasn't because of Mark's ability. It was more like I was his pit crew. So
I was gonna say it was his horrible crew
so
chief that he had up there. Yeah.
I got promoted from Windex guy to tire pressure guy to changing tire guy to rattle gun guy to wheel alignment guy to suspension guy, all in a day, which was cool as hell. I've done it before. These things are awesome. They're only 1600 V-dub motors on a rolling frame. No aero, no wings, little cigars with tires, little cheese cutters. And I had a time of my life up there, mate. This is the third time I think I've been to Morgan Park. Sorry, for the third time I've been to Formula V Queensland with Mark Racing, but second time at Formula V. So Reeve McCarthy was up there fighting out with Michael Kinsella and Tyrone Weissman from New South Wales. These Kinsella's leading the championship, the national championship in Formula V's. So effectively what we saw was Reef, Michael and Tyrone in a top three all weekend fighting amongst each other with the best of Queensland right on their heels. That's Alex Hederman and Alex McDonald and Chris Porter. Curtis Porter, I think from New South Wales as well, was right up there too. So it was awesome racing. It was sunny. These guys, this category is the Moto 3 of MotoGP.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
How did Reef go?
Reef had a third on Saturday. Sorry, had a second on Saturday, had a third on Sunday because he had an off. And came back track on sixth position, fought back through. These are only 10-lap races. So like lap 3, Reef's already in 6th. Makes this magnificent move. There's 3 cars in front of him. He's sitting way back. Just cuts it on the inside of turn 1. And two wheels on the dirt, undercuts everybody in turn 1 to get back into 3rd. But this was also lap 8 of a 10-lapper, and the other 2 were too far. So he had a first, a second, and a third. He's sitting second in the national championship. He's cleaning up the Victorian championship. I just had a chat with him tonight before we do this potty. So that's coming up. I also start that again. Had a chat with Reef tonight and a chat with Bailey Sweeney. And after this podcast is done, I will be posting those chats from their wrap up on the weekend. So that's it. Awesome racing, country racing. We had to shoo the kangaroos off the circuit because there's a million kangaroos at Morgan Park. I'm not joking. They also ran improved production, the XLs and Formula Ford and HQs up there. So we had a 5 categories racing up there. All of it was ace. There was so much good racing up there. We even had some radical cars racing with the improved.
Oh, nice. I love the radicals.
We had three radicals up there racing with the improved prod.
Nice.
Yeah. and I met heaps of crew up there. By the way, before I cut off on this, there's a young girl up there who's just started Formula V this year. Yemina Sternbeck, Yemina Sternbeck, who is absolutely flying, completely destroying the older guys that have been in the game for 3, 4, 6, 10 years. She was
Yeah,
finishing
nice.
4th or 5th out of the Queenslanders and stuff. So I got a chat with her coming up. Her aspirations are 100% Formula One.
Nice.
She's
Aim
open
high.
wheeler.
Aim high. Yeah.
She's just working her way up, and at 14 years old, because they can race 14 in V's, this girl is kicking everyone's butt.
Nice.
So
Well,
that's cool. I like.
look forward to seeing more of her in the coming years then.
Yeah. That's what we want to
Yeah.
see. So maybe she might end up with those other two girls in the F1 academy. The two Aussie
Yeah.
girls that just got promoted into that F1 driver program.
Yeah. That'd be good to see.
Cool. All right. I'm gonna have to cut a whole bunch of this crap out. Let's go to supercars. Let's talk about the supercars this weekend, Rowan. Sandown
All
500
right.
is back, and so is Rihanna Crean.
It
Welcome
is.
back, Rihanna.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Will and Rihanna with little Dash.
Yeah. Got a
Little
nice
punk's 10 years old, so I swear they're not getting any sleep still.
little bubble on the way. Yeah. No, probably no sleep at all. So good to have her back. It's not the same without her in the pit lane. So good to see her back. We've had what do we have? We've had a few test days and stuff there. So not a lot of excitement coming out of them, other than one of one of the truck assist boys lost a wheel, and Shane Van Gisbergen lost the brakes. So
Well, pretty much,
that was
dude, seriously, it's a test day. How do you not do the wheel nut up on a test day?
probably the same guy that was putting Will Brown's oil cap on at Sandown, I'd say. So
Could well be. Could well be. Legit. It's like, dude, okay, put your wheels on, leave the lane at your leisure.
Yeah.
There's no time pressure here. And then all of a sudden, turn 2, wheel flies off.
Yeah.
My
So
little
no,
spy, my little super spy who was there watching practice that weekend, Tammy,
yeah.
our awesome marshal. Yeah, took a whole bunch of photos and everything else. But I'm curious to hear your opinion because I have one. You have one. SVG with brake failure. I'm doing the air quote
Brake failure. Yeah.
brake failure. While
So
Triple
I
Eight
mean,
are testing the brand new steering rack to try to find
so
some sort of.
well, I mean, I didn't think too much of it. Like brake failures happen, but then when who was it? Dutto or someone from the Triple Eight
Yeah, it was
garage
Dado.
said that the reason they think it was because there's a valve or something that
There's a
someone accidentally
90-degree brake fitting down at the bottom, and if you knock it anti-clockwise, then it can
and
actually shear off.
if it's so easy to be able to be knocked to cause a brake failure on a $750,000 race car, that's a problem.
Let me take you back
That,
one step. There has never been a car that has the same engineering design, they all do, that has had this
yeah,
issue before. They've never had this issue before. The day that they are testing a brand new steering rack,
yeah,
and then
the
they
brakes
go,
fail.
well, if this happens, then that happens, and their team of pit engineers won't notice that they've
Hmm.
actually knocked it off. There won't be any fluid leaking. They won't know that they've hit it.
Hmm.
I don't believe
Yeah,
it.
no.
I personally just think it's a cover story because they're still running a um, new steering rack, and
Well, I
there's
think
another
so. It's
failure.
there's problems. There's big problems because
If
those
it's
things
if it
shouldn't
is
be
as
happening.
dumb as Willie Brown's Audi crew not putting the oil cap on the car and sending it, if it is as dumb as that, and somebody has actually done that at the start. This is at 10 o'clock in the morning on a test day.
Mhm.
Shane comes in and backs it in at turn 6 because then it failed.
I mean, he's
If
lucky
it
that it
is
wasn't
if
a
it
big
is as dumb as
crash.
that, then shit happens. You just blew your test day away. They were sending it
Yeah.
off to back to Banyo, and then they decided to put it back out because Richie's had no time in the car whatsoever.
Hmm.
And if it was as simple as that, well then why would they have bothered? Why would they have put the car away?
I mean, one thing I will give him credit for is because that car was pretty bent up. They did get it back out there, so that the
Well,
fact
they
that they were
weren't
able to
going
repair
to.
that car as
They weren't
quickly,
going to. I mean,
yeah. But
you
the
still
fact
got
that the
two other
fact that they
cars here,
did,
mate.
so because that's one of these things that they've been saying for these supercars that they want to be able to get these things repaired quickly. They did that day. They did actually get that car for the damage that was on it. They did get it repaired quickly and get it out on track to do a couple of hours in the afternoon. So that was good
Only
to
after
see.
they put it
But
in the transporter
yeah,
to
but they got
send
it
it
fixed
back to
though.
Banyo.
They did, but then they took it out of the transporter, put it back in the garage, and got it fixed. It didn't go back to Banyo.
No, it didn't. The
Yeah,
intention
it's
after the accident happened
yeah,
was it was going back to Banyo,
yeah, yeah.
and we will go back and forensically examine. So more likely, they actually looked at the reason that the actual failure happened while they were on track because they had an entire
Hmm.
crew there, pit crew, and they went, "Oh, we're confident enough to know what it is, so we'll just pull it back
Fix it,
out, fix
fix it
it,
out.
and then Richie can have some drive time."
Hmm.
Otherwise, he's pulling drive time out of Craig Lowndes and Zane Goddard's car, which
Yeah,
is actually Shane's car, but he doesn't like it. So he wasn't going to let him have it because he said, no, screw you. Your car goes straight. I want yours.
yep.
And
So
then
no,
put it
that's
straight in the wall.
look. I think it's definitely a big issue, and being that we've got if for one, if that crash had have happened at turn one at Queensland Raceway, that was going to be a far, far, far bigger accident than it was at turn six.
There's a massive
If
sand trap down there, man.
I
It's
know there's a massive
huge.
sand trap, but that's 250 k's. The sand trap's not going to slow you down too much at that speed.
Yeah, turn the
Um,
wheel and slide.
but if something like this happens at Bathurst coming into the chase, that's going to be a lot bigger.
Well, that's why they're doing the
So
steering rack testing.
yeah, so it's
Because the steering
there's
racks that we have at the moment don't have not
points.
survived their usable life rating.
What was it was but Peter Addison said it on Facey the other day. Said this car wasn't ready. Like they rushed it through. It's had not even a year of testing. Like literally, these cars had been finished built a week before Newcastle this year.
But we
This
all
this
knew that.
rep this year, yeah, but this year is the testing for them, and now we're having issues which
It
are
wasn't
causing
just Peter
problems and
saying
causing
that. It
people
was
to crash.
absolutely
So
everybody.
no,
It
there's
was the
every,
teams were
everyone's
saying it.
saying it. Yeah. So
The teams were
yeah,
saying it at the start of the season. The
and
reason
and
these
yet
cars were supposed to be rushed through middle of last season.
but now we're seeing it. Now we're actually seeing these things happen and these accidents happen because the cars aren't tested properly. They're not ready, and that's a problem coming into these endurance races, I think.
Oh, I
So
know. This is going to be the most spicy endurance season ever because it's not necessarily going to be driver fatigue or mistake that's going to cause the failures. There's going to be a high rate of failure. So
there's a
when we
massive
move
attrition rate.
into like, oh, that's all well and good to take away the minimum compulsory pit stops. Like, who gives a shit? If your car can drive on, if you can do a Bathurst on 7 pit stops or 8 or
Mm,
9 pit stops, like knock yourself out. Do whatever your car needs to do, depending on safety cars. But once we start seeing steering rack failures, like we've seen all day, all year on sprint races,
yeah,
the amount of Ks that these steering racks are putting on are about 50% of the anticipated usable life,
yeah, that's
then
ridiculous.
we're going to chew up 1,000, we're going to chew up 1,500 Ks. Well, I guarantee you this, there will not be the same steering rack at the end of Sandown this weekend leading into Sandown. Like, there's no way a team is like leaving the current steering rack in and going, nah, she'd be right for Sandown. I
No,
mean, Bathurst, like for Bathurst,
Bathurst,
like
no,
she'd be right for
no.
Bathurst. Yeah. There's no way that's happening.
No, not at all. Another interesting thing for the Enduros, no compulsory pit stops this year. So they've
We
removed
just
them.
talked about that.
We talked about it pre-show. We haven't talked about it yet here.
I just did right now. Like, who cares about it? Whether it's 7 or 8 or 9 pit stops, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Put
But
the strategy back into the
like,
team.
yeah, what are your thoughts? I think it's a good thing.
Who cares?
I really
We don't
like
have a
it.
Nissan
So
Altima. We don't have the fuel
yeah,
drop might need to be maintained because of burn rates between the Coyote and the Chev. So I'm cool with a minimum fuel drop, but you shouldn't have to do a minimum
no compulsory.
number of
Yeah,
pit stops. If you want to push it and just run it and fuel conserve, go nuts.
yeah, 100%. No, I'm with it. I'm glad they've gotten rid of him, so that's good. And the gear ratio could see the cars pushing 300, which is nice. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward. We
maybe.
haven't had it yet, so maybe if they've got a tailwind, I think they might. But
This
see
is
how that
them trying
goes.
to preserve the engine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it is, yeah, because
Because they'll come out of the corner slower because they're going to have a taller drop
yeah,
gear
yeah.
just straight off the back of the gearbox, so they won't put as much load
These things are
on the engine.
yeah.
And
They're
then
not. They're not going to be
that's
redlining.
fine. Yeah, that's fine. Then
Yeah,
they change drop gears all the time. Like from round to round, they get told you're going to use this drop gear this round and this drop gear at that round. Like this is not new. This is not a secret.
yeah, 100%. What
Whether
else
they
is
get
there?
off the rev limiter and they manage to hit 300 k's for the tailwind and Conrod, so be it.
Be interesting. It'll be interesting. See how they go. What else we got for supercars coming in there? Anything else?
I don't
Limiters
know.
done.
Probably should
Erebus,
read. Probably should read the sheet.
yeah, checking that. Test days. Erebus and DJR have still got a test out their sleeve,
Yeah,
so I
they
think they're
do.
going to
Yeah,
run.
they're going to use one
They,
between Sandown and
yeah,
Bathurst. They haven't used all
so
their test days up
yeah, they'll run one of them in
because we
between, so that's
chose to
good.
call them driver development days when we had Cooper Murray and Jay Hansen
Yeah, put
running the
the
cars.
young kids in the cars. Yeah,
Yeah.
get an extra test
Who
day.
both of
Yeah.
them lost their mind. It was like Disneyland for them when they had to go on
Oh yeah,
the Gen 3. They were cool. They loved it. They loved everything about it.
be a ton of fun.
Well,
But
that's it,
I
dude. No,
think
look,
that's it.
unless
Yeah.
you think of something else about supercars at the
No,
moment.
don't think there's much else at the moment. So we'll yeah, no, that's pretty much it, I think. So we'll do the we want to do the win it or bin it. We got a couple of them. We'll smash out that, and then I think we're done, I reckon.
Yeah, let's punch off. We talked too long anyway.
We have. It's been going a while.
Yeah,
So
because
win it or yeah, I talk way too much, mate. It's definitely me,
you
Dave.
went to
I'm definitely.
Sandown. He gave us a minute by minute blow. It was awesome.
But speaking of Sandown, that was your first one. State racing canteen prices.
Yes, up in Morgan Park, 100%. Oh,
Yeah,
how good's going to get a $7 egg and bacon brioche roll in the morning? You want a burger? Want a pie? You can get 2 pies for $5 if you wait to the end of the day. But a $5 pie, mate, not an $18 pie or a $12 pie. It's $5. So
no.
state racing canteen prices, that's a win.
Well, even still, I'll give them a win still. Even I'll go a step further and just say it's anything under supercars, because at the TCR at the Speed Series on the weekend, we got two burgers, chips, a can of Coke, and a Kransky roll, $30.
No
Like,
way.
yeah, $34, I think it was in total for two burgers, chips, Kransky roll, Coke, $34.
Ah, see, that's a win.
Yeah,
That's okay.
that's a
That's
win. That's a massive win.
okay. We'll change that to non-supercars
Yeah.
gouging and punishing the food vendors by
Yep.
charging them 5 to 10 grand to put the van on the actual thing and then taking a clip on
Yep.
every sale.
100%. Yep. I was when Phil turned around to me, because he shouted for the food, and he turned around, he went $35, and I went, what, your burger? And he's gone, he's gone, no, the whole lot. And I went, fucking hell. I went, that's all
We're
right.
indoctrinated because there's normally an $18 burger. So that's like 2 burgers. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So supercars, pull your head in.
that's
Race
it.
teams chucking kids in cars in the pits.
Win it. Get more of them in there and get these kids actually seeing what it's like to be in the cars and around them. 100% win it.
And I'll give
Yep.
Dream Racing the ultimate props. I've been around their team for about 3 years now, and that's what they do. And you
Yep.
were the beneficiary of what they do. They see a child walking past and go, "Oi, want to get in the car?"
Yep.
And then you said yes.
Damn straight. And then I got in the car. I was like, damn straight I do. I
You
pushed the
said
kid out of the
yes.
way. I was in there.
Yeah,
So
exactly. You took that small child and you pushed him to the side. It was only a small elbow to the back of the head, and then you were sitting in Josh Webster's car with both feet trying to push the pedal down.
damn
Um,
straight. That's amazing. Oh, big yes to that, and another kudos to Josh
Craig
Webster. And
Craig Scatella,
yeah,
and his glorious wife run that attitude, and Jackson
yeah,
Rice and Josh Webster and the other young development drivers that they do with the Dream Racing Trans Am team, they get it. And I've
yeah,
seen it with my own eyes, and they just spend half an hour with kids. There could be two or three mates, 14 years old, 12 years old, 10 years old. Come and check out a race car. Do you want to see what it looks like? I
yeah.
love it.
Just awesome.
Um,
So
let's
good.
get to the serious one.
Yeah. So
The one that
last one and
the
probably
one
the
that
most
you're the one
serious,
that
I
you're
think.
most upset about.
Yeah. So co-drivers' names on cars, they're not on there for this year. And
Nope.
I am going to go. It's a win it in terms of having them on the car. It's bin it to take them off because I think that the coes need to be given the recognition and have their names on the side of the car. They're doing just as much to help win that race as the other driver is. They might not be doing as many laps, but they're still putting themselves out there and getting it done. Uh, yeah, it's a win it to having their names on there and a bin it to taking them off.
Yeah, but you've sat in a Trans Am. I've sat in a Gen 3 car.
Yeah,
There's no room to go on that banner because you're looking at a letterbox, right? So there's no room to put them across the top unless they start compressing all the lettering,
so
which
put
means
it on the
nobody can
bodywork.
read anything.
Put it on the bodywork somewhere. Put them somewhere.
Well, that's right. But is that
Yeah.
any better if you're getting your front on camera crew as the cars are coming at you? Nobody can see the side doors until you get the sweeping corners, and then what you're going to put both drivers' names on the side window or just the co-driver's name? And which window do you choose?
Have one on either side. Have one driver's name on one side, one driver's name on the other side. Then that could work.
Would that work for you?
I'd be happy with it. Have their name on the car at least. They're driving
Maybe.
it. Why isn't their name on
Well, why can't we just get like the little dominoes on the roof and put the
it?
drivers' names? Every car's got one. It's a shark fin. Put the shark fin on the top.
I'm all good. I'm all good with that. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
all good with that. Yeah,
with that. Yeah.
yeah. Little bit of extra something on there. Give it a bit of pizzazz.
The
No,
windscreen is so much lower. The profile is so much lower. To make it actually readable on TV, the drivers have already complained about having that black stripe where their actual own name is because they're
yeah,
already
well, they can't see it. Yeah,
limited peripheral visibility. And people might think, oh, it's only on the top of the windscreen. Well, if you took probably what 6 inches out of the top of your windscreen and then put some masking tape for the next 4 inches across that. So if you take about a foot out of your windscreen in your normal car and just tape that
just
off, and
just
then
slouch.
say,
You're all right. You just slouch down a little bit further in the seat. Do the gangster
well, mate, they
style.
can't go any lower. The bum's already on already on the floor pan.
Yeah,
Um,
I get that there's not a lot of room and things, but they should be able to find somewhere to pop the Coe's name on the car. I think it's unfair that they're not on there.
so do I. I agree with you.
Yeah,
And this is all for uh,
Yeah.
drivers. It's for the drivers' visibility and also commercial reasons where if they have to um double the drivers like they used to,
Yeah.
years gone by, they had them underneath each other
Yeah.
in,
You're
in,
not
in
going to do
two
that with those
rows,
new
in two
cars. Yeah.
rows, right? And then if you try to, um, I'm blaming Shane Van Gisbergen for this because his name's so goddamn long that they have to compress the font with Stanaway that it might be unreadable
I would
on
imagine
on
so.
for the
Yeah.
commercial broadcaster.
Give them nicknames. Just put your nickname on the side of the car.
Well, that's
Bush,
what the Utes
Will,
do.
SVG. Yeah.
Well, that's what the
Exactly.
Super Utes do. We haven't even got to Super Utes. We're
Yeah.
not going to this round at all. And this, no, we're
Yeah.
not. But they
No.
don't have their names on. They have their nicknames on the
Exactly.
bonnet,
Do that.
on the windscreen.
Whack their nickname on there somewhere. So they've pretty much all got nicknames these days. So
Mate,
whack a
I'm pretty
nickname
sure
on
if you
there.
said SVG, that is the shortest actual.
Exactly. So it goes from the longest to the shortest one on there, and then
Yeah.
you're all
So he's
good.
got the
So
most space available behind him.
yeah,
Cool. All right.
that's it.
And the last one, which we shall knock on the head, is the Speed Series, which we've been speaking about at Sandown last weekend. Just their broadcast deal, just the arrangement they have currently, which is changing next year because Motorsport Australia are taking it
Good.
out of AOG's control. But currently, we've got two rounds coming up, the Friday night and Saturday night at City Motorsport, and then the Bathurst International, and they don't kick off the broadcast until the first actual race of, or sorry, the first qualifying session of TCR.
Yeah,
So
and
we don't get to
and
see the supports.
very very few of it is well, yeah, not all of it isn't on their $30 paid subscription service, but then even less of it is on free to wear, and that's a massive benefit for me for a series that is growing and a category that is growing. That's just the dumbest thing that they could have done was hidden their category behind an expensive paywall when they're trying to build a fan base because people just want to see it. They don't want to pay to see something they know nothing about.
Correct.
So, and that's the thing. You've got to actually get people excited and actually understand what a great series it is before you start charging for it,
And
like
that will
supercars
take
did.
time. That will take time.
Exactly. Yeah, supercars. I straight up said when supercars went behind the paywall on Foxtel, I said I'm not going to pay for it. And guess what I did? I started paying for it because I've been sucked in, But I haven't been sucked into the TCRs yet, and a lot of people have. Well, I have been now, but a lot of people haven't been. They can't
Because
hide it
why were
behind an
they
expensive
interested in?
paywall.
Because they're V8 fans,
Yeah,
not 2-liter
exactly.
turbos.
Yeah, but you've got to get people interested in it because even these I reckon even these V8 fans are going to actually start to understand how good TCR is if they let them watch the racing for free. And then once they've got it, then you can put it behind the paywall, go for it because you've got everyone sucked in. But until then, bin that shit, get them from free to air, get eyeballs on the cars and get people watching.
100%, mate. And if you don't
Yeah,
like the 2-liter turbos, there's a big
watch the
LS3
Trans
screaming around called Trans Am. So,
100%. And they are more exciting than supercars at the moment. So
oh,
yeah, yeah,
without a doubt. Now, I'm going to say something that's completely non-controversial. I have more fun and I get more enjoyment out of going to a Shannon's round or a
yep,
state-based racing round than I do at supercars. Now, I am supercars through and through, but
yep.
holy hell, my track day experience, I have so much more fun and enjoyment and more access and more uh, uh, relationships with the guys that are in the paddock at a state racing or at a
Hang on, you there?
yeah, I can hear you.
There you go. Muted somehow. All right, there you go.
But who
I don't know
muted?
what
I
happened there.
muted or you muted?
All of it did. Yeah, just said
Hmm.
meeting muted. All good.
Okay, right. So I'll go back to just the statement I was saying that I have more enjoyment now than at the state racing or the Shannon's rounds, my race day experience is so much better than
Yeah.
at a supercars round. There's a lot that supercars are missing the boat on. There's a lot that teams are missing the boat on with their fan engagement. But the fan engagement and the accessibility at a Shannon's, TCR, Trans Am, GTs, like the openness of access to those categories, and the
Yeah.
state racing, which is like state racing, which is grassroots, like it's proper grassroots. I'm so much loving grassroots than
Yeah.
the corporate elitist attitudes that are coming through in supercars in recent history.
Yeah.
That if it's a pay to play to watch.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have money, we get lip service as being fans, a lot of lip service, but they don't listen.
No. Yeah.
Supercars as an organization are not listening. They're too busy
100%.
pandering.
Yeah.
Some teams are doing better jobs than others to
Yeah.
to cater to fans, but in recent history, I'm seeing statements made from a various arrangement of teams going, well, we can't fit the fans in.
Yeah. They got no time for them anymore. They used to, but they don't anymore.
No, because
Yeah.
supercars went to a two. We haven't. We'll put this on to another topic next week. But
Yeah.
the 2-day calendar versus the 3-day calendar.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We'll pop that for
that was a very interesting article with a variety of
it
teams.
was actually, yeah, we definitely have to put that on next week's agenda. So yeah, we'll make sure to note that one down.
Yeah.
But I think that's it for tonight,
We're
mate.
done. We're out.
We are
We've
done.
spoken for too long. I've got to chop up a whole bunch of stuff out of this. We've talked for too long. So thank you again, Jason Sweeney at gamelife.com.au for giving us all the kit that we can just play with. All of your online gaming and streaming needs, please go and check him out on gamelife.com.au. We have to go. There will be another podcast. What are we going to call it? Episode, I suppose.
Yeah.
I have an interview with Bailey Sweeney and Reef McCarthy doing the wrap up from their racing weekends. And that'll be a separate episode because Rowan and I have talked for about 1 million hours and we're out.
Yep. Enjoy, guys. Peace out. See you next week.
Bye.